I might as well be the last human on Earth, the last ship left for New Earth. I watched it forlornly as it left the Earth's polluted atmosphere and disappeared into the vastness of space. I can barely breathe through my mask. The only thing left to do is go back to my house. I can't help but resent all the other human beings that left this planet that they've broken and destroyed just to do the same to another unsuspecting and unfortunate celestial. But then, a part of me hopes that they'll make better choices. Many species of animals have long since died out. Those that were left and are not taken on the Ark ships, they're still living out their lives as if nothing has changed, as if the ships taking off amounted to some bad weather. As I work on my project, I can't help but marvel at how in the space of 50 years our planet has changed so much. It's been 2 years since the ships have left. I always condemn myself for not being punctual. I drank so heavily the night before, knowing that this would be the last time I would ever see this planet again. I had just put my mother in the ground 2 months prior. Her body would be left here. I didn't even have the money to get her a designated tombstone, but instead her body was set to be buried in the dirt, sharing the grave with others. In the year 2057, I have since learned to farm my own food, hunt, and survive. The thing that shocks me the most is how absolutely quiet the planet is. I've never heard anything like this. I didn't realize how loud humans actually were. Whenever I sleep in my new abode, the very comfortable mini house inside of Walmart, I can hear the strange and eerie cries of animals outside, either hunting each other or mating with each other. I have long since fortified Walmart with everything I could. I made a little greenhouse in there, and one outdoors as well. I cleared the parking lot so I could see very clearly what was coming down from the mountain, and not be surprised by anything hidden behind cars. I know it's only been 2 years since the last ship left, but already I can feel as though the air is recovering. I can also feel my strength coming back too. My mother used to say, "Harry, mankind is a poison to the earth, and if we were suddenly to be whisked away, Earth would immediately patch up all the holes we left inside her." One thing I am shocked at but grateful for is that the internet still works. Well, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and most sites don't work. I imagine that with nobody to maintain all the servers, that the whole thing would eventually go kaput. At least I'm able to watch some leftover videos from the largest video sharing website, even though it takes half a day to load it. I remember the ancient history of YouTube having been the largest video platform. People used to think it was a Titanic that would never sink. But long gone are the Titanic companies like Google and Apple. Amazon had gotten absorbed by a larger company. And that's why I reminisce over these things. In the list of events, I realize that nothing is certain. I always thought us humans would go extinct here on Earth, but as I look up to the sky now, I'm humbled every time I think about the fact that we have 16 colossal spacecrafts heading off on a journey to another planet. 2 years after they left, I can now go outside without wearing a mask. I would see odd animals littered all throughout the region, and when I would go hunting up on the mountain, I would notice carcasses and sick animals sitting in the soil staring off into space. The smaller, odd-looking animals are the ones that seemed the most energetic. The air was virtually unbreathable to most animals, but for those like me who survived, we are now thriving as the air gets better at a quicker rate than I thought possible. The truth is, even though I'm alone, there's a peace within my soul. I'll enjoy my life to the fullest until my heart stops beating and my body stops moving. Of course, I admit that I am afraid if something horrible were to happen to me, there would be nobody around, no doctors to patch me up, no one to watch my back, no one to drag me away from danger if I suddenly fainted or got knocked out by something. I have more than enough weapons and medicine, and I think if I am the only human left on this planet, well, I can live my whole lifetime 3 times over and never run out. While medicines do expire after a while, this bottle of Tylenol that I've been using that has long since passed its expiration date still does the trick. I am making the most out of what I've been given. There are times I'm still in denial that I'm the only person left on Earth. Or at least, so I thought. On this particular night, as I'm pushing the garbage outside of Walmart, I see something standing in the parking lot some distance away. It looks like a person with raggedy clothes, but I can't make them out in the twilight. To me, they just look like a silhouette, and I swear to God, I can see their eyes glowing. I start backing up after I out my cigarette towards the doors of the grocery warehouse. I always take care to make sure I have the keys to every door, and that when I go out of one entrance or exit that the others are locked, so just in case something can open doors, it doesn't get in while I'm outside through another entrance. As I start backing up, I grab onto the door and open it and go back inside the Walmart. The person with the glowing eyes moves. They're quite a distance away, about 150 yards or so. So for me, that was around the distance that I started to have trouble to see or make out what it was, but I know for certain this thing looks like a human being standing up, or at least a silhouette of one. But as it moves and turns its body to walk to the right, its face still looking at me, I jump back in surprise. Now I have to double check and make sure what I'm seeing is actually real and I'm not losing it. Through the lobby doors to the Walmart, I stare intently through the glass. What I thought was a human being, or looked like a human being facing me, completely changed in shape once it turned to the side. The human being's legs are now the front legs of some very tall creature, and apparently it has a long torso and hind legs as well, and a very long and thin tail that it almost drags in the ground behind it. I had thought that it had arms, but apparently it does not. Just a very long neck that I had initially thought was a torso of a human being. The head still looks human, however, and yes, if my eyes don't deceive me, the eyes are indeed glowing. I go back into the rest of Walmart and draw down gigantic shades I have placed in all the windows and re-barricade the lobby. I had fortified all the windows by putting grills on them, which was an arduous task. I had to learn to weld, even though I'm not great at it. My skill level is decent enough to get the job done, and boy am I glad that I did. I lean with my back against the wall underneath those very large windows facing the parking lot. I very quietly get on my hands and knees, and while still on my knees, I slowly inch up to see if I can look through the window by gently lifting up the shades an inch to see if I can get a picture of what's out there. Where the thing was, it's no longer standing there. You'd think that I'd be relieved not having seen it, but I know what I saw, and the fact that I don't know where it is now makes me nervous. I don't have to wonder very long, because I almost have a heart attack when I see a shadow pass by the window, something massive. And when that thing was standing far away, it looked like it might have been the same height as me, but whatever just went by the window, just now, was much larger than a horse and a bear combined. I couldn't see it. I only heard the faint, soft footsteps of something large, like an elephant, passing by the window as if it knew I was in there, and it was trying to see if it could catch a glimpse of me. Thankfully, all the shades were on the windows, and unless it bent down to where I was, out of the slit that I made by slightly lifting up the shades an inch, it couldn't see me. I then have the harrowing notion that it's trying to find a way inside. I lock myself in the back office, and now all I can do is wait. The morning comes and I realize I am safe. I bravely walk to the front, half expecting that the thing would still be there. I half expect to witness the terror of whatever this animal is, since I would be able to see it in broad daylight. This thing that pretended to look like it was human, or at least gave me the illusion that it was when it was facing me. However, when I open the shades and look out there, there's nothing. I faintly remember last night having seen a very short meteor shower occurrence. I know none of this seems important, but another night has passed, and at the base of the mountain, right outside the parking lot where the lights can't touch, in the area over which the meteors burned up, I can see strange figures with glowing eyes walking around out there. I can barely make out their shapes, but they all look the same. I guess the best way to describe it would be to imagine a centaur, You know, those creatures that are part horse and part man? Well, in this case, imagine taking a horse and cutting off the head and putting the torso of a man in place of it. So you have the body of a horse, and the man's torso, arms, and head is in place of the horse's head and neck. These things loping around in the dark with their glowing eyes resemble that. Instead, their bodies look wolf or reptilian instead of horse-like. And what was supposed to be their heads was longer or bigger. It really did look like a human torso, but just a bit longer, as if it were partially fused with human legs that go all the way up until the torso, which would end in the human neck and head. It's nightmarish. I can hear these creatures making the most rhythmic noise I've ever heard in my entire life. I didn't realize how much I missed the birds until after a while I just stopped hearing them. I didn't realize how peaceful everything was and how safe I had felt until I started seeing pieces of animals like bears and deer being scattered throughout the parking lot in the morning. Something was big enough to kill not just one grizzly, but 5. From the looks of it, 5 fully grown male grizzlies had been massacred, and every morning there are more pieces, and more, and more. I never saw the things during the day, and every night they continued to walk across the windows of the Walmart, the shades blocking me from seeing them, and they would look for weak places. They would tap on the walls, and I've heard them on the roof. They emit rhythmic trills and the clicks and clucks towards each other as if it were their language. I wish I knew what they were saying so I can give them whatever they wanted, if it meant that I would have escaped with my life. What is clear is that whatever those things are, they're not from here. I mean, the timing is so odd, and I find it so strange that in only 2 years after mankind has not been on Earth, these things show up. And of all the things they could be interested in, they seem right now to only be interested in me and getting inside.